Lisbon only has 500,000 citizens. Every year, the city sees around 4.5 million tourists, with overnight stays exceeding 57 million.
So with your tour, you cover all these spots.
We connected with Miguel, who works with We Hate Tourism, a group of friends assembled by Bruno. The crews do tours around Portugal that offer a different experience, an experience that's away from the crowded tour buses. They're unique tours showing a different, more personal inside glimpse of Portugal.
Bruno, when he started the name We Hate Tourism, the idea was tourism tours, you know, like trying to do a tour but more local and friendly and more less boring. Where we want people to be careful with the city or the town or wherever you're going in the country as a tourist, to be more responsible and to be careful to respecting the behaviors, the culture and the people. And so in Lisbon it happened mostly those last 3 years. It gets very busy. The neighborhoods in Lisbon, they've always been like a little town. I'm from this neighborhood, you're from this one. And everyone knows everyone's life from the neighborhood. So even as a big city, we still have those things. Só foi buscar o carro há bocado, gajo. Vai, até logo. She went out yesterday with a friend of mine. Nowadays, with the tourism, some of the locals have to live on the surroundings and not more inside. Mostly the old people, because they don't have money to afford the new rentals. People, they have to increase the rentals, they have to restore the buildings, and so they need money, the owners. But then it's a bit sad as well.
Due to the effects of the tourism boom, Lisbon has lost over 300,000 residents in 3 decades, and the trend is expecting to increase.
That is connected to tourism, the services and the products and everything. It's what is giving jobs mostly in the big cities and mostly in our capital. So it's helping a lot.
English. Sorry,
Man, we are in Lisbon, Portugal. You don't know how to do other things. People, they come to your hostel, they look like they're still in their place. They're not living the car. And you're so like, hey guys, he's from Australia probably, yeah?
No, he's English.
English?
The original tramway service began in 1873 as a horse car line. Beginning in 1901, the tramway services were then converted to electric and reached its peak of 27 lines in 1959.
Guys, this is one of the things that the City Hall make the intervention for the street art. So they put those white boards, you see, for people to make graffitis as well. So there are some walls where you can do it. It's a law. And then they put some of those things for people to paint.
Lisbon is an open-air art gallery with some of the murals as old as 30 years, making them ancient in street art terms.
The city understood very early the strength of street art. Originally they did this because Bairro Alto, so the neighborhoods up there, was full of graffiti, and they realized that if indeed they were giving some space that were legal to paint, maybe this would be decreasing, and it did decrease. I think it's a part of trying to kind of redirect the creation in another way and giving a chance to a generation to express themselves in the streets. So when we created the project, the whole point was to put the lights on Portuguese artists that were not necessarily recognized for their work. But the second thing was as well to put Lisbon on the urban art map worldwide. The shop is open, the artists are up there, they are open downstairs as well. It's not all the time that we have artists there, but when we have artists, sometimes we do workshops, we do talks, you know, it's where people can come and talk to the artists, have a book signing. This is a place of encounter.
Are the artists, the local artists, are able to live out of their art?
5 years ago, these artists didn't have a place to exhibit and didn't really have a place to sell their works. I can say it, I'm very proud of this. Almost all of our Portuguese artists, and it's not only thanks to us, obviously, but it's has been living from their art.
We connected with Pedro, who also goes by AKA Corleone in the urban art scene. Over the years, he's done work with underdogs on pieces in and around the city.
There I was able to do like different pieces, more ambitious stuff, and from that it opened a lot of doors. And then I was able to travel to paint more and more because of the connections they already have. how this all started was watching my father and being at the studio. And like, my father is a sculptor, but I never got into sculpture, curiously. I painted graffiti since I was 14, maybe. He hated it, which is weird. Like, he's an art teacher, and he sees himself as a really open-minded person. But then, as a father, of course, he didn't like me to be painting in the middle of the night in dangerous places. So it was a really, really big struggle with him. He always supported me to do what I wanted, but I felt like he didn't really like what I did, like he would support. But then I did the first show in Underdogs, and it was a really, really nice moment, because it was the first time my father said to me, like I'm proud. Like, now it feels like you're becoming like an artist. When I did graffiti, I could be doing the most horrible or most beautiful thing. Everybody would try to catch me. Like, there was always like this avenger guy who would try to catch me and like bring me to the police. So suddenly we have a city where if you want to paint a mural, you call them and they invite you, which is even more weird, because I painted the city all over with shitty stuff that they don't like. Yeah. And then 4 years after, they are saying, hey, you want to paint a wall? We're going to give you material. And I feel like Portugal, and especially Lisbon, it's becoming saturated with murals. It's becoming a little bit too banal. And I love my city, and I love the tradition of it, and I love like the authenticity of it. And I feel like it's losing a little bit itself. It's becoming kind of an artificial setting for tourists. I get bored with doing the same thing all the time, so I'm always trying new techniques. Next month I'm gonna paint this basketball court. It's a territorial thing. Like, if I paint over graffiti, they're gonna paint over me. If they don't paint the floor, I'm happy with it.
Before we go off on our cross-country road trip, our last stop in the Lisbon district is Pop Skate Shop, home to an incredible park.
The skate park, PDG, Parque das Gerações, was a dream for super long. We grew up with all the community skating by the sidewalk, by the beach, skating and surfing, and we always dreamed of having a skate park in Estoril, in this area, Cascais.
The skate shop is named after Bernard's dog, Pop.
We've been fighting as well with the skate brands from the industry to give it back to skateboarding, trying to get them to do something for the Portuguese skate scene. Like this, there's loads of brands who sell a lot in Portugal. We only work with brands who do something for skateboarding in Portugal. It's important for us to have our own brand. We started Dilabo just doing boards, and now we're doing more of the clothing and skate wheels as well. Yeah, so definitely. We are not dependent of other brands that maybe today they care a lot about the Portuguese skate scene, tomorrow not so much. And this way we can keep the stuff flowing and do events and do stuff for the skate community. So like that's a main key.
You know, there's more companies from here and you're supporting your skaters, and you don't have to rely so much on the American brands.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the dream.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah. There needs to be a balance. For these new generations, even the older ones, in days where technology and all these video games are so strong, to get people out on the street, having fun and like experiencing real life, and skateboarding plays a major role in that. Okay, sure, this is like the main.
Bernard gives us a list of places to go and people to meet along our journey through Portugal.
Oh, you got this one? All right, I got it like this. So, Peniche is
we're
one
going
of...
there.
Yeah, you gotta go to Bukovac.